What's up guys, my name is Ace, and yesterday we got a really big leak regarding Modern Warfare, and this was actually a list of a ton of different game modes that we may be seeing throughout Modern Warfare. Now these leaks come directly from the PC code from the Modern Warfare beta. I will leave a link to this source down below if you guys want to check them out. But within this leak, there are over 40 game modes if you're talking about the hardcore variation of each one of them as well. And also within this leak, for many of the game modes, there are voiceover lines, and this will give us an indication of how some of these new game modes will end up playing out. So first up, let's get all of the modes out of the way that we already know about, we've seen in previous Call of Duty games, or they've already been confirmed, like Cyber Attack, for instance, in Modern Warfare. So these modes are Team Deathmatch, Domination, Free-for-All, Hardpoint, Kill Confirmed, Search and Destroy, Headquarters, Search and Rescue, Cyber Attack, Drop Zone, Defender, Demolition, All or Nothing, Arms Race, Capture the Flag, Grind, Reinforce, and then for party modes, we have Gun Game, One in the Chamber, and Infected. And then also within this list, we have Gunfight and Ground War, which are completely different because they're played on like different maps entirely. But I did want to point out those were in this list as well. So that's quite a few modes already, but there are also quite a few modes that are new, or maybe they just changed up the names of them or something, but these are currently modes that we don't know exactly what they are. And with some of them, like I said, they did have some of those voiceover lines that were also leaked, so we will get a slight indication of how they play. First up, we have Showdown, then we have Rupture, and with Rupture, it looks like you have to locate a Juggernaut armor and then break through the enemy's lines with it. So it looks like both teams are looking for that same Juggernaut armor. Once they find it, they have to break through the enemy lines, which sounds like a really fun and interesting mode. Then we have Onslaught, Incursion, Fire Team, Combat Outpost, which this one just says control the outposts, which means there are multiple outposts apparently. I don't know exactly what else could be going on in that game mode. Then we have Invasion, which is a flag-based mode, and with this one it says take your flag into the enemy base, so it seems like you spawn with a flag and you have to take it to the enemy base, rather than something like Capture the Flag where you have to take their flag and bring it back to your own base. After Invasion, we have Fire Mission, and with this one we had some voiceover lines as well, but these ones were really vague and they basically just said seize the objectives and kill our enemies, which really could be anything. Then we have Assault, High Value Target, which High Value Target looks pretty interesting. With this one, you have to hunt down the enemy high value targets, which seem to be randomly selected and they seem to rotate throughout a match as well. And in addition to seeking out the enemy high value targets, you have to also protect your own high value targets. And it also seems like the longer you stay alive as a high value target, the more your value increases. So presumably the more score you'll be earning for your team. And possibly maybe even the more powerful your character will get. I think that would be quite interesting as well. And finally, this just leaves us with something called Team Juggernaut. And with this one of the voiceover lines was Juggernaut armor marked, eliminate all threats in the AO. Additionally, we have other voiceover lines that seem to suggest that the Juggernaut is randomly selected and it will rotate throughout the match, because there is a voiceover line, for instance, that just says, you are the Juggernaut now, or new Juggernaut selected. So it seems like the game will randomly select a Juggernaut, and then the enemy team obviously has to try and kill that Juggernaut, and the friendly team has to defend their Juggernaut. And that's pretty much it for the new or currently unknown game modes that are in the game. But we also have hardcore variations of many of the game modes in the game, so I'll just go over all of the ones that do specifically state they have a hardcore version of them. We have Team Deathmatch, Domination, Search and Destroy, Kill Confirmed, Free-for-All, Headquarters, Arms Race, Cyber Attack, Gunfight, which will be very interesting, Showdown, Fire Team, Invasion, and Fire Mission. So you can see there are going to be quite a few options this time around for the hardcore game mode as well, which is really nice to see for the people that enjoy hardcore modes. Now, with all of these game modes leaked, there are a few things to point out. First off, it's highly unlikely that every single one of these game modes will be active at the same time. Even with crossplay, that would be splitting the player base up way too much with this many modes. It's more likely that we'll see the staple modes like we always do, like the standard TDM, Domination, Free-for-All, Search and Destroy, and a few others. They will always be around, and those will never disappear, and then they will rotate in featured modes. And the featured modes that end up being really popular may end up becoming staples at some point, but this just seems like the most likely way they're going to handle all of these different game modes. Now, having said all of this, there is one thing I want to mention, because this is the type of system we had for the past year with Black Ops 4, where they kept rotating in featured modes, and that can get kind of frustrating sometimes, because sometimes those featured modes are modes that you really, really enjoy, yet you only get a few days with them every couple months, and that can get a little bit annoying. The main problem I've found with this system in Black Ops 4 is a lack of party game modes. In my opinion, there should be several party game modes that are staples to the game that never leave. And these are, at the very least, Gun Game and Infected. These are two game modes that, in my opinion, they should always be activated, they should always be around. And I'm really hoping this time around with Modern Warfare, we do get a party mode tab that is always available, so that we have these really like low pressure sort of a modes with not much stress involved, where you just go in there to mess around with friends. I feel like those are really important for longevity, because there's a lot of times where maybe I'm just getting really sick of how the standard modes are playing out. Maybe I'm just not finding any luck, but I want to continue playing the game and maybe grinding a little bit. Maybe I'm hanging out with friends. It's always nice to have those no pressure sort of a party mode to go into and just have some fun there. Additionally, I am hoping with crossplay this time around, we'll have such a big player base to work with that they can potentially have more of those permanent modes, or they can have multiple featured modes at any given time. So therefore, if there is a featured mode that you really, really enjoy playing, then you won't have to go quite as long without playing that featured mode. Maybe it can pop up every 2 to 3 weeks rather than every couple of months. Those are just my thoughts on the matter, though, after playing a year of Black Ops 4, which had a system like that with rotating in featured modes. I also want to mention a few modes that really stood out for me within these lists that I'm really looking forward to trying out. First off, Team Juggernaut, as well as Rupture, which has the Juggernaut armor where you have to break through enemy lines with it. Both of those sound like really interesting modes. I'm very excited to try those ones out. I think they could be a lot of fun. And also, I'm curious to see how Hardcore Gunfight plays out. I was very surprised to see a hardcore option for the Gunfight game mode. I don't know if it would really play all that well, simply because the rounds would be ending basically instantly all the time. You'd have very, very fast rounds. But I am curious to see what that will end up being like. In either case, that's where we're going to wrap up today's video. I've shared pretty much everything I want to share regarding all of these game modes in Modern Warfare. Like I said, don't expect all of them to be active at any given time. And also, I guess I forgot to mention as well that these aren't necessarily confirmed. Yes, they were found in the code, but sometimes things are scrapped. Or maybe some of these old modes that we're seeing here are just leftover code and they won't actually be in the game. So it's not necessarily a 100% confirmed list of every mode that we will see, but it does give a pretty good indication of the potential for game modes in Modern Warfare. And of course, with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about all of these game modes in Modern Warfare? And what are your thoughts on the sounds of some of these newer modes where we had those voiceover lines that give us a bit of an indication of how they play? Are there any that really stood out to you as ones that you'd be really excited about? And also, how would you like them to organize this many modes? Do you think it is good to have a featured mode type of a system where they rotate modes in every week or so? Or do you think with crossplay, they'd be able to handle having all of these modes active at once? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, since we're over 8 minutes and the algorithm really likes those 10-minute videos, I will just be letting the gameplay play out here. Feel free to leave the video now if you guys would like. And if you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Enemy UAV overhead. We've got 2 objectives. Lock it down. You're needed at Bravo. We're crushing them. Stay with it. We've lost Bravo. Friendly UAV overhead. Securing Bravo. Take cover. We're taking Bravo. We've captured Bravo. That gave them something to think about. Good work.